Microsoft 365 Copilot got quietly released to the masses last week, and in this video we're going to see, is it worth paying the money to get it? We'll go through some amazing things that it can do, as well as some of the bizarre frustrations. So stick around, let's get our hands on to Microsoft 365 Copilot and see what all the hype is about. So first thing to note is that this is a premium priced product from Microsoft. You need an existing license, and if you've got an enterprise license, that's the same amount of cost again, roughly, that you're paying for Copilot. So they think it's as valuable for an enterprise as all of the other apps that you get, Word, PowerPoint, Teams, everything in the Microsoft ecosystem you get as part of your license fee, and then Copilot is on top. So they're valuing Copilot as valuable as all those apps. If you're a smaller business, like myself, and you've got Business Standard or Business Premium, for Business Standard, Copilot is 3 times more expensive than your existing license. So it should be 3 times more valuable than just having access to all those apps. So that's the sort of mindset I'm coming in with, that this should be a premium experience because I'm paying a premium price. Now, like most things for Microsoft Teams Premium, sometimes the onboarding is not great, and Copilot is no exception. So the first experience of our Copilot is that your IT admin signs up for it, assigns you a license, and the first experience of it as a user you get is this welcome email. Now, what it doesn't say in the welcome email is that by the time you get the email, Copilot may or may not work, and probably won't work. So you go think very excited, like a kid at Christmas with a new toy, go to play with it, and then find out there's no batteries included. So you then go scrabble around some batteries, and some things start working. And then next bit of first impressions, you start using it, and then in the same Christmas analogy, the wheels fall off the brand new remote control car that you've got. And yeah, you can put the wheels back on and try something else, but it's just not a very good onboarding experience. And I think Microsoft does forget that for normal people doing normal jobs, first impressions count. If you go to use something and it doesn't work, you're probably not going to go and try it again unless you're really interested in technology. Now, being fair, probably, unless you're interested in tech, you won't have Copilot anyway. But still, you've got this email to say you've got Copilot, all the new cool things you can do. You think, oh, cool, I'll go into Word and try it. It doesn't appear in Word yet. You go into Teams, and before I paid for Copilot, Microsoft 365 Chat popped up in my 3-dot menu. And I clicked on it, and it said you don't have a license. So then when I got the email, and even actually up until today, when I went to Microsoft 365 Chat app, it just says you don't have the right license to use this. Okay, cool. Well, there's also a Copilot app, which I've pinned into my sidebar, and which seems to do the same thing as Microsoft 365 Chat. So it's then, well, there's nothing in here to say what's Copilot, what's Microsoft 365 Chat, what's the difference? Because I think Microsoft 365 Chat appears in your chat and Copilot appears in the sidebar, but Microsoft 365 Chat appears in the sidebar as well. It's just not a great experience when you first get started. We'll come on to some of the good things in a sec, I promise. So that's going on. It starts to appear in Word, Outlook, PowerPoint, and you can start to have a play, and we'll have a look at some of those in a sec. But Outlook, as someone else said on LinkedIn, takes absolutely ages for Copilot to appear in Outlook. So all of these things appear on the web versions of each app pretty quickly, but for the desktop app, it's really unclear about, well, should I restart it to get it to work? Should I leave the app running to get it to work? And I tried both of those things, and it seems like it's just random when it appears, apart from Outlook, which took days and days and days for it to appear in Outlook on my Mac. To be fair, I've got Windows, and I'll be flipping between Mac and Windows as we go through this. That did seem to be a little bit quicker, but still, there's just no, like, it will take a few days. It could just say that in the welcome email. Look, it'll take a few days to get through to all your apps, and there's nothing you can do. You just gotta wait. Cool. Just tell me, and that's okay. But to get the email, you're dead excited to try to use it, and it's just not there. It doesn't work. So let's jump into a few things that are now applicable to the job I do now. So most of my job is writing proposals, writing up reports, and helping people with change management stuff in Microsoft 365. If you're interested in working together, click one of the links in the description below, or stick around to the end to find out a little bit more. But what I was most intrigued about was creating because I write a proposal, sometimes I turn that into a PowerPoint slide deck to help talk someone through that on a call before they decide to work together or not. And what I'd seen in the demos was like, oh, you can take a document that you've written and turn that into a PowerPoint slide. And I think I wasn't going mad. I'm pretty sure I saw this based on another PowerPoint slide. And that's the thing that I cannot seem to do very well. So I've got a sort of a template here. I haven't done what it said in the Microsoft admin to go and create a SharePoint template site that has all your templates in, because I don't do that much often. So that's extra work for me to get it to have like a company template. If I do have a template, it's just that it's stored somewhere that's not in SharePoint, that's designated to be templates, because there's only me in the company. So if I've got a couple of slides, I've got a header slide and then my usual one that exists, and I say create a presentation from file. It then pops up, usually pretty slowly. Oh, I can't see, this is a live example. Sometimes it just doesn't work. So it worked before I started recording. It just says I can't find that file right now. I was like, well, I haven't even typed a file yet. So you're saying you can't find any files? And this is where it's like, it starts to get a bit slower than me just doing the job. So I know the proposal that I want to turn into, there we go. So I start typing it, it says, I want to use this proposal and turn it into slides. Now, I'm pretty sure I saw in the demos that you can then say based on this presentation, and then put in a presentation that you want it to look like. Ah, see, that's working now. That didn't work before. So it says type the search or copy and paste the link of the Word document you'd like to work with. Well, they're not Word documents. These are PowerPoint slides. So I'm now confused, because before it would only let me pick Word documents. So I don't want to base it on another Word document. I want to base it on the slides. And I don't want it to be based on these ones. So I'm hoping when I search, it won't get rid of the PowerPoint slides now. Let's try that one. Okay, this is actually doing what I want it to do, which is not what I was expecting when I started recording, because that wasn't available, which is really annoying because it keeps changing what you can and can't do. If it does do this, this will be what I actually want to do. Oh, and then so it's just so frustrating. I can't do that just yet. For things I can help you with, review and select the suggestions or use a starter prompt. Let's change the topic. Let's say create a presentation from file, CCIS proposal. Now, it should be able to do that, and I'll show you what it does do, which is not actually helping me create what I want to create. So all the demos are really cool because they're doing stuff that you don't know what the person wants to do. But the question, if it's worth someone paying for Copilot, is it going to do what you want it to do? And that's hopefully what I'm going to address in this video. So you see it scans all the Word document pretty well. It's got like all the headings and everything, and then it's going to turn that into slides. So if I wasn't bothered about how it looked, this might be fine. And I've got a template in, so it's getting some of the branding at least that I want to use. Again, if you'd gone and made a template in SharePoint, whilst it's loading, gone and made a template in SharePoint, it would probably be able to do company branding better than it's doing now. But again, that's extra work that I don't want to do right now. So it's changed the it's changed the colour of my font. I don't want that. It's then put in a thing with no heading. It's then putting pictures over my bottom bit. It's got a date and sample footer text. I don't want the footer. I didn't want that in there. It's got some random pictures in. So I don't know what that guy's doing. And it's not terrible. I mean, but it's like I could have copied and pasted that. My things don't change very often, so I actually need to change a few of the things to fit it to the next organisation I'm working with, to fit it to them. And what's that? I can't even see the text. So it's not amazing. If you don't have any template at all, so if I start that again with a new blank presentation, if I do the same thing, so create a presentation file, searching again, I can't find that file. I haven't even selected a file. It should pop up with 3, there we go, 3 recommended ones. Pick that one. See if we can do based on this presentation. Let's try that one. Yeah, can't help you do that just yet. But so yeah, so you can't do that. So let's do correct. So I don't know if it's just broken and it shouldn't be able to do it, or if you shouldn't be able to do it. And that's probably the worst thing about most of what Microsoft does, is sometimes there's a bug, and you don't know if it's a bug or a feature or if that's the way it should work or not. So if I just say, just create a presentation, it's now just going to do something completely random, which might be fine, but I would say in organizations, you're probably going to want it to look and feel a certain way. So not being able to base it on a previous presentation is a bit of a miss. No, but I'm sure, without going back, and I can't be bothered to go and find it, I'm pretty sure I saw someone do that in a demo before Copilot came out. At this point in time, I could have just gone and made the presentation myself way quicker. So if the benefit of Copilot is that it's going to be quicker, it actually just needs to be quicker. So here it's like, it's made a presentation. If you're not bothered about the formatting, this might be cool. It might have done everything you want to do. It should be like putting some stuff in there. Here we go. It shows you the original content, so you can like read through it if you're presenting it, which is cool. But yeah, so the PowerPoint thing wasn't amazing. The other thing that I was really excited about it doing was Word. So I write up recommendations and report and a plan for an organization about how to get the most out of Microsoft 365, and that usually ends up being quite long. So I've been using the free version of Copilot to condense some of the things. So I just write stuff out as it's coming in my head, and I say, actually, that's a bit long and wordy. Can you just help me condense that? And how to copy and paste each little bit to get it to condense, because there's only a certain amount of characters you can put into the free Copilot, which is available to everybody. Microsoft 365 Copilot in Word now should be able to scan the entire document or have bigger lumps of text in there at least. Again, I work mostly on a Mac, so let's jump over to on the Mac. So let's just open this proposal. The Copilot can do a couple of things. So you can highlight text and Copilot appears like in line. So if you highlight that whole passage and say rewrite with Copilot, that would be quite useful because I can just condense bits that I've just typed out. Now, again, this might work now, but this worked for like a day and then just stopped working on the Mac. And Copilot should work on the Mac. You can see it's in Word on the Mac, and it just breaks and has not started working again since it broke. And I don't have any idea about how to fix it. So is that worth 300 quid? I'd be pretty annoyed. Luckily, not a normal end user that just got a normal job to do. I'm trying to keep up with the latest tech, so I don't mind I do mind, but I can sort of work around things. So I've got Word on the web that it works in there, and I've got lucky enough to get Windows on my Mac, so I can switch over to Windows, but that just doesn't work and has not worked. And it says please try it again in a few moments. It hasn't worked for days and days and days. So that's not helping me. The other thing Copilot does is you get like a pop-out sort of banner in Word on the right-hand side, so they can have stuff about the entire document. Now, one thing that would be cool is summarize this document, which may or may not work depending on the length of your document. So this one's only 3 pages long because it's a proposal. It might get the summary, might not, but I don't want a summary for this document because there's nothing to summarize because it's just different bits of a proposal. So if it does work, it's not actually something I want to do. It's just for this demo. Let's see. Again, it takes quite a while to scan through, but I guess there's 3 pages of text. And then after this, I'll jump into one where it would be really useful. I just tried it before recording and it didn't work. So let's see if it's going to work for the camera. Here we go. So it has actually got a summary of the document, but I've already split the document into quite concise bits anyway. So we'll just stop that working. If we flip out into this one, so here's a real proposal. You can see I said summarize this doc. It says I'm still learning and I can't do this just yet. Is there something else I can do to help? It's like, well, it's one of the, here's some things you can try. So if we change the topic and just start again from scratch, what would you like to talk about? Summarize this document. So this one's a real life one, and this will be really useful to summarize. So to get the summary, I'd have to read through the whole thing and then think about like, well, how could it be more concise and what are the main points to pick out? And that's where Copilot could really help, but it just doesn't work. So it's still learning, can't do it. It's like you can do it because I've just done it in another Word document. So I don't know what's going wrong. And that's really, really annoying. I mean, this one is quite long, but still. in this Windows version of Word, rewrite with Copilot, please select any plain text paragraphs. It doesn't support tables and the non-text elements, so that's bullets, presumably. Say I just wanted to rewrite these two, then the rewrites bit does work in Word on Windows, but it doesn't work if I'm on the Mac version. So I'm going to have to actually get this to work, I'm going to have to flip into different versions to do my job, which I don't want to do. It's actually taking more time, and unless it's going to significantly save me time, I'm not going to bother to do that. So already there's a couple of things that's like, well, I'm just not going to use it. So as first impressions go, am I going to bother to, like, they might get better over time even, but am I going to bother to try to do something that takes a while and then end up taking longer than me just doing it myself? Probably not for a while if I was just a normal person doing a normal job. So Word and PowerPoint are kind of out. I used to do lots in Excel because I was a finance analyst, business partner for quite a while, and having Copilot in Excel would have been amazing. And again, some of the things in the demos look great. Like, you can ask it, what are your trends in stuff this week, this year, and it'll pull stuff out for you. So it's sort of like taking finance analyst work away. I thought from the demos that like maybe a sales guy could just go and interrogate some raw data and you wouldn't need any finance people to go and help do that for you. So here's just a download of a dump of data that I had lying around from an old bit of data. Like I say, I don't do much into Excel these days, but so one of the things, I'll just walk you through what I did. I open this up, copy and paste it in. It says you can't do stuff unless it's in a table. So the first thing you need is to make a table of data, which is just to highlight all your data, insert, and then do table. So it knows that that is a block of data. I then clicked on analyze. It says I can analyze data and show insights, blah, blah, blah. What do you want to do? And there was one that popped up saying percentage of total orders placed for each material. And then it actually did orders placed by material and sum of orders. So it's like, well, that's not the percentage. So it suggested me that I might want to look at the percentage. I asked it to do that, and then it didn't actually do the percentage. There's then an option, usually when you just start Copilot, that says show data insights. So I click that. On some of the other data I've done, it just said, I can't do that. I can't do data insights. Give me some more information. But I guess most of the gist is like it doesn't know what your data is showing. So maybe it might be better if you change the headings or had spent time to categorize like what each data type is, which you would do probably if you're doing something in Power BI or something like that. But yeah, so if you just say show data insights, it's like, well, I can show you, the highest month of orders placed in this example. It's like, cool, but I already know that if I work in the business anyway. There's not much you would do, and you probably wouldn't show it like with a bar chart. You'd show it as a seasonal graph. So obviously it doesn't know that posting period is month. So I don't know. I've seen some other videos where it's been amazing in Excel, but I just thought from the demos you'd be able to chuck a block of data in and not do anything else, and it would find stuff out for you, which isn't the case. So you might do some extra work in there. It can suggest formulas and things for you, and write formulas for you. So if you're not clued into writing formulas, it could do that for you. But again, when I tried it before, it didn't do that. So add formula columns. Quickly add new columns with formulas, select a suggested prompt or describe what columns you'd like to add. So you can add a column that combines posting period and fiscal week. That might be useful. Let's get it to do that. So that might be useful for some further analysis, which I have done in the past, is combine your period and your week together. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. I do it like that. Insert column, so it can do that for you. Oh, I could have done that quicker than it probably. So show suggestions for formula columns. Let's see what it might suggest. I think it'd be useful to get the percentage difference between orders placed and your forecast. Obviously, it doesn't know it's forecast and actual orders because those aren't written in, but again, this is just a dump of data. Total forecast. Calculates total forecast for each material, adding the values in the first and third forecast periods if they are numbers, otherwise treat them as 0. So if you hover over it, it gives you a preview of what that's going to be. I'm not sure that would be useful. I don't want to do that. So create a column that shows the percentage difference between orders placed and forecast period 01. Now again, when I did this before, it just didn't do it, even though I said the exact column names. If it does it now, that would be useful. Again, I probably could have typed it in whilst it's doing this. So unless you've got something really complicated that you don't know how to do, it's probably going to not save you that much time. So it's got the error in, which some people might not have got the gist of, and it's doing it the right way around. That sounds all right. And we can add it in. Cool. So might be some useful bits you want to do in Excel. So we've done PowerPoint, Word, Excel, and saved the best to last. So with me getting frustrated about some things that I would want to do in my job and seen in the demos, and they're just not lived up to my expectations, there was one thing that has actually surpassed my expectations, which I didn't think it would, which is always a nice surprise. And this might be worth the money on its own if you do a lot of meetings and writing at meetings. I'm Gavin Jones from MeeTime. We help people save time at work to do more of the things they love, increase sales and increase well-being. If you are an organisation of 50 people or more, then consider booking a call using the link in the description below if you need more help being more efficient at work and or getting the most out of Microsoft 365. So I'd paid for Microsoft Teams Premium just to get Intelligent Recap. If we look at a meeting recording and go into Recap tab, then Intelligent Recap still persists. So in some of the Copilot onboarding, it says that the recap from Teams Premium, so Teams meeting Intelligent Recap, isn't going away, and then Copilot's like separate on top. But I'm hoping that you can just get rid of Teams Premium because the recap is not particularly useful. So if we look at this meeting, so real life meeting, you can see the meeting notes aren't terrible, but they never really help me out that much, to be honest. They don't pick out like really important bits of information. And the follow-up tasks are usually, or have been, pretty bad. So this one is actually not bad because it's saying send proposal this afternoon. If I jump to another one, it's like Gavin will send a file to a colleague of blah, blah, blah. It's like, we never talked about that. It's just plain wrong. But what is cool is Copilot. So if you're in a meeting, you can use Copilot within the meeting whilst it's running. Whereas Intelligent Recap, you need to wait for like 20 minutes after the meeting's finished, and there's no progress bar, so you don't know when it's going to do. So if the next thing you need to do is send out the minutes of the meeting or use some information for the meeting, you're just waiting and you don't know when it's going to appear. Whereas Copilot, you can integrate that meeting straight away, and you can ask questions about the meeting. So there's some things that just pop up, so you can say more prompts. I found that generate meeting notes kind of does a recap of the meeting and does list action items together. So that's the most useful thing for me, generate meeting notes. And it then sort of pulls out actually the topics that you talked about rather than just chronological stuff of what happened in the meeting. So it's picking out like what is the important things that we talked about that is worth mentioning, and it cites each result to like the transcript, so you can see, you can just jump back to that exact piece to go and review the raw data, which is great. The action items are way better, so you can see in the follow-up tasks from Intelligent Recap, it was just I'll send a proposal this afternoon. In this one, it's like about CRM system, proposal, schedule the first workshop, and training needs. And then what is great, which I wouldn't have even thought of asking Copilot in Teams for about a meeting, which is in the more prompts bit, is suggest follow-up questions. So, which is amazing. So it's already provided some value, because there's some things in a real life meeting I didn't know that you could do suggest follow-up questions, and then it had some other questions that I might then want to go and ask once I do an office visit and speak to some more people. So it's like, well, that's amazing. We did talk about it, I wrote it down, but I probably wouldn't remember to put that as an action for myself to go and follow up. And then now it does. Yeah, some more questions about, well, I want to ask probably more questions that Andy wants to do. And then what is cool that I would want to take from a meeting and then put into a proposal, put into a report, is like just summarize the pain points coming out of this meeting that can then put in. And it's like, just list them all out. It's like, that is actually better and quicker than I would do myself, which I guess is the whole point of Copilot. And so that for me is worth the money all alone. If they can fix the things that are in Word, PowerPoint, Excel, where sometimes it just breaks, that would be even better. But for me, the integration into Teams is its killer feature at the moment, and is well worth the money. you also get, it only works in Teams, but this is where you can ask it anything about anything in the Microsoft 365 ecosystem across like emails, Word, anything. So it's like, when's the next meeting with XYZ? You can just ask it about your work, catch up on Teams messages, summarize emails about a certain topic, what's new from a certain person. This is where it's like scanning everything in Microsoft 365 ecosystem, and this is where it might be really useful. Bizarrely, we didn't look at Outlook. Well, let's go and have a look. It's not that particularly useful. One, because it took ages to actually appear. So there's no way in Outlook to just say, look, just summarize all my emails. What have I got going on today? There's just nothing. There's nothing in there. If you click on a specific email, you can get a summary of the email, like by clicking Copilot at the top. And if you start a new email, you can get Copilot to write some things for you. Either you can write something and then say coaching by Copilot, give some suggestions to make it better, or you can just draft by Copilot. But by the time you've written what you want the email to say, I've found you've already written the email anyway. So I don't find that particularly useful. And you can probably just do the same thing for free and copy and paste it into Outlook. But if you want to say, well, what are the most important things from all my emails last week? Bizarrely, if you're in Teams in Copilot or Microsoft 365 chat, that can scan, he says, and that doesn't work. So I can't find the most important things from your emails last week. Summarize my emails today. So it can scan through emails, look. It's done, I haven't had many emails, but it's got an email from Microsoft from Planner with late tasks, and it's telling me what some of the late tasks include, which is nice. So it can scan your emails and show it up in Teams. It's just strange what you can and can't do. Again, Microsoft's trying to help you out with Copilot Lab, which is where it's got all the prompts. And also, before I finish and forget, should note that from all the presentations Microsoft had done, from the last one where they announced loads of stuff on Copilot, I assumed wrongly that Copilot Studio, where you can create your own Copilots, would be included in that Copilot subscription. And only after I paid and it didn't appear, it then seems Microsoft to split Copilot Studio out into a separate thing where you can make your own Copilots. So if that was important to you, wasn't that important to me. If it was important to you, then know that that's a separate thing that you need to buy if you wanted to link it into another app or something like that. So hopefully that helped you get an understanding about the pros and cons of Copilot. Obviously, it can be immensely powerful, but it's also immensely frustrating when it doesn't do what you want it to do, because you're actually spending more time doing that with Copilot than you are just getting your job done. The killer app for me is Copilot in Teams. I think there's so much opportunity for that to be amazing and save loads of time, especially because most time people waste is in meetings and emails and following up and doing prep. And I think that is way better than anything Microsoft have released before with Intelligent Recap or anything like that. And so if you like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button and the bell icon. It's got new videos coming out at least every Tuesday on all things Microsoft at work. If you need more help, then let's have a chat, book a call using the link in the description below, where our most popular product is me coming in, seeing how your organization works and recommending some ways you could work better, predominantly or happening to use Microsoft 365 as a first step. And if your organization is too small, or you're just an individual that's part of a larger organization and you still want to get up to speed with Microsoft stuff, then you can always ask a question in the comments and I'll get back to you eventually. If you want to jump the queue, then consider joining the channel, supporting the channel, where you can get priority access to questions. Next tier is that you get priority access to new videos, or join the MeeTime Mastermind, where you get members only personal productivity training, along with live calls with me, where you can ask me anything about the Microsoft ecosystem. But thanks for watching so far, and I'll see you in the next one.